Hey everyone, it's me, bbygrl, and I'm here to talk about tarot and a recent revelation or epiphany that I've had over it. And I think that if someone else can relate, that'd be cool. But these are my thoughts on tarot as someone who reads tarot on YouTube or has posted in the past, and as a personal reader for my private clients. So my recent epiphany was that I'll read it on from my list. I think it's harming. I think that tarot is harmful in the sense where I think it develops a codependency, especially on the YouTube or like social media readings, where you're kind of like looking for specific information and trying to find specific content. I feel like that, and I'll get more into it, sorry, as the video keeps going. But yeah, because you're kind of excuse me, you're using it as a means to validate your reality in a way, or trying to know things, right? And that's where it became harmful to me. And I want to preference this as this is my experience. I'm not saying that tarot is inherently bad or people who do this are inherently bad, okay? Like, I'm just speaking from how it has affected me, how I've engaged with it, and the ways that I didn't realize that it was harming me in the long run, or not, beneficial for me, or maybe it's just having outgrown something that once was a tool, all three can be true at once. But yeah, so I think that it fed for my need to control, in the sense where needing to know everything, like really fear-based thinking when it comes to that, because it's like, well, I have a sense of stability and safety because I know what's gonna happen, right? Or how someone feels, or that, well, the tarot lady said the money's coming in and I'm gonna get the job, but you don't get the job and the money doesn't come in. No, but the tarot lady said, you know what I mean? So, right, that little aspect of it is very interesting, because I feel like, again, it came from a place of not knowing anything, feeling out of control, and needing to have some hope and find control. But then it'd be like, for me at least, which really took me out of like reality, right? Because when you're living, well, you're like constantly just like watching videos, it does, I feel like, disconnect you from living. I think that I've spent an embarrassingly amount of time even just having it on in the background, right, where I could have probably been reading something beneficial or listening to a podcast that I could have learned from, or a subliminal, something else that I think would help command more of my future, as opposed to like these like kind of, I remember my 6th grade teacher would call them fluff books, like books where you're not really learning anything, as opposed to like not real books, but your brain has to work. So it's like I was engaging with fluff content that's as tarot, when I could have been engaging my brain in ways that would have helped me, right? Again, not saying that it didn't have its place, because clearly there was a need for comfort, or again, straight up entertainment, not making the thing inherently evil, just understanding where these habits weren't necessarily the best, and realizing that some of them truth is not like this whole time it was like not serving me. There's nothing like that. It's dual, I guess, like just multiple ways of looking at my experience. So I feel like it did not allow for full reality facing, and I think it created delusion and fantasy, or it can create delusion and fantasy, where because you have a sense of, well, I know what's gonna happen, you expect it, and it kind of becomes this thing where you're taking certain things certain. You know what I mean? Like, I think an example would be a love reading, right? Like, how many times have we read in the comments where like someone's like, not my narcissistic ex, and I've been waiting on him for 6 years. He's married and has children, but I know he'll come back. Like, sis, you know, like, that's scary, and that's not okay. But again, there has to be a level of awareness and discernment, right? And I think that's where we can understand that this is not real, in a way where it's a general reading posted on YouTube, right? It can have, is that a bird or a person? You hear the whistling? Okay. But like, it totally took me out. Boom, back reality. Yeah. Living in that disillusionment and not having discernment over like what's actually real, you know? And it's like, why are you watching and referencing someone you haven't spoken to in like 6 hours? I mean, sorry, in 6 years. That whistling is really bothering me, and I wish it would stop. And I think it's someone. I don't think it's a bird. Okay, we're just gonna have to wait because he wants his time. Okay. Again, and I also feel like it, in a toxic way, can have you kind of like, well, you're not like really in this reality, like forcing reality, right? In a way where you're not like affirming for it or kind of working for it, but you're living in your disillusionment as to like what's actually going on in your reality based off of cards. And I think that as someone who has the gift of reading, it is a blessing to be able to peek behind the veil. But I do feel like it becomes you're abusing it when you're constantly peeking behind the veil. I don't think we're supposed to constantly peek behind the veil like that, especially in the way it's done on an entertainment purpose. Again, love that shit. All right, so just saying, which is interesting because it's like, is it, yeah, there's people who live with different levels of attunement and awareness, but are we, I don't know, is that something we're supposed to do? Or is it more about being in reality and moving along with reality in a way where, again, you can control? Because in a way, it takes away like free will, because you're like, it's going to go this way no matter what, as opposed to when you kind of don't know what's going on, right? You have like that blank slate you can really figure out, and you kind of get to direct where things are going. And I think another thing is about where the energy is like, how do I put this? I kind of blanked out, but it's like not really, oh, there you go. It's, again, I think I touched on it, but I think that part of a core issue, at least for me, and why I heavily relied on it, was that safety net and the false sense of safety it provided. Because when things are so general and you can't really deny and confirm them, and when they're all mainly positive, right? Because you get to also pick the reading. So you can find a reading that's going to tell you what you want to hear and can confirm your delusions, because there's a reading for everything, all right? And you'll be like, yep, that's right, right? So again, I think creating a false sense of safety, because you're trusting this like outer wisdom or like the spirits because of whatever is going on in reality that could possibly be taking you out of your reality when maybe reality is too difficult to face, right? Or again, it's not having trust. It's just, I feel like it comes from a lack of sense of stability and safety, or insecurity. I don't feel like, again, I think not once in a while, I think the general obsession, okay? And I think, like I said, that I think it's entertaining. I think it provides hope. As someone who also gets personal reads, where usually why we get readings, right? And been accurate. I've received readings that have been accurate, both telling me good and bad things. Okay, so again, I'm in this community. And, you know, I think it's good to bring new ideas, new scenarios. Like, wow, I never visualized that. And I think, but I also feel like in that sense, it really does, in a way, block manifestations. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like it blocks the manifestation. Like, especially if it's like a positive reading sometimes and it's something that you really want to happen. I don't know, but I feel like I feel maybe because it like disperses the energy. I have no idea, or it's like shares it. I have no idea, but yeah. I feel like sometimes especially if you're tapped in and you're like watching these readings, it can actually hinder you from the outcome that you want. So that's what I wanted to come on and say. And thanks if you got so far into this. I would love to hear what you have to say, your opinions, your thoughts. They matter, you know? And I think should I mention this or should I wait till my next video? Because I feel like I'm gonna move away from tarot for quite some time. And, you know, if I feel like there is a real channeling and a download, I will post it. But who knows, you know? It might not be till 2 to 6 years, you know? Obviously, I'm always going to have my deck because that's my child. But I think I'm even stepping away on a professional, like personal standpoint, like with my clients. Again, it's like a shift happened. And this isn't villainizing or denouncing it. It's just that right now, I do not feel like it's the best for me. Yeah. And I think I'm not going to touch on it on this video, but I really want to talk about what it is to be authentic, and not perfect. How, like, what is the fear of perfection and how that has affected me personally and the people and reading studies that I've seen. It's not, you know, I just want to talk about it, like personal dating experience. Think of like Carrie Bradshaw via my YouTube, I guess. All right. And how like noticing how my need to exist in all my layers has affected like the male gaze in that play of me being authentic and not perfect. Okay, I don't know. So I think I'm, again, because I want to, like, obviously I really love YouTube and I want to go back to recording more. So I feel like that's going to be my next video. Just sharing ideas and hopefully other people can relate to them. And thank you so much if you have stuck around. It's been Baby Girl. Have a good one.